It's time for another Dice Tower review with Robert Geistlinger.
Fast and frantic games typically aren't my style, as I tend to like more slow burn, Euro-style games. But I do enjoy, as of late, games with apps driving them, and I enjoy games about zombies. Well, today we're going to take a look at a game where it's going to be driven by an app, but that's not required, and it's going to be about zombies, and we're going to be slamming our hands on the table. Today we're taking a look at Zombie Slam. So here we're taking a look at Zombie Slam. Now this is a game for 3 to 6 players where players will be taking on the roles of survivors in a zombie apocalypse, trying to collect supplies such as flashlights and medical supplies, planks of wood and guns, trying to not turn into a zombie themselves. But have no fear, even as a zombie, they still could win the game. The game itself can be controlled in one of two ways, either via a free app or via cards that are included in the game. For the purposes of this review, I am going to use the app. Now in the app itself, you're going to be able to set your difficulty and your request. We'll just set it to medium, which is actually the normal request, and we'll do regular speed. We're going to be selecting our characters. We've got Rich and Barbara and Cole, and we're going to hit start. And we're going to go ahead and hit start day. Now the first thing that's going to happen is all the players at the table are going to put one hand at the edge of the table, and then someone's going to go ahead and tell the app to start. And when this happens, the characters are going to go ahead and have a conversation among themselves on the screen that will lead us to know what type of item they're looking for. Now that could be they're looking for any medical supply, or maybe they're looking for planks of wood, or maybe they're looking for 4 of anything, or maybe they're looking for something green. In addition, we need to be aware that at least one of these rooms at the start here is inhabited and could have a straggler if we claimed that item. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the sound here. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit ready your hand and go ahead and click it.
Barbara, let's hole up in this house. You good?
I don't know. Okay, I guess. I just can't believe this is happening. This house should be safe, right? What should we do next? Any ideas? What if we found any colored plank of wood?
I'm going to go ahead and turn this sound off now. So during that, we could have at any time during that talking slam down on something that we thought was going to match it. The thing is, once you put your hand on a stack, you cannot move it from that stack, even if it's incorrect. After a bit, the app does show us what the actual request was. So it's looking for plank of wood. So any player putting here could claim it, and any player putting here. Now, if 2 players claim at the same time, the person on the bottom can keep it, and the other person can move their hand to another spot. And if we had maybe went here, then we would not be able to pick up our hand. So for the argument here, we're going to say that the blue player took this plank of wood. So we'd add it to his backpack, and we'll say that the Rich here had claimed this one, and so he gets it. But since it's in an inhabited room, he also has to take one of these straggler tokens as well. And we'll say that Barbara had put here, and this was an incorrect thing, so she would not claim this, and instead she would have to take another hazard to her playing area. At this point, we would hit next, and it's going to say ready your hand, but we're also going to need to refill any empty rooms. And you'll see here it says turn 2 of 10. So we're going to go through 10 rounds of that filling, and I'm going to speed up this a little bit, and I'll come back to you once we've got to the end. So now we've reached the end of the first day, and the app is going to lead us through what we need to do. The first thing we need to do is evade all hazards. Now these are these cards in our area. And if we don't do that, we're going to turn into a zombie. So looking at Cole here, we have this hazard here. We have guns. We could discard this to evade it. And looking over here at Barbara, she has a plank and guns to discard, so she can do that, so she doesn't turn into a zombie just quite yet. Once we've dealt with all hazards, we move to the next step, which is to equip all stragglers. So for each straggler in our possession, we need to remove one of these items from our possession. Let's say Cole had one, so we can maybe toss out this plank of wood, thus equipping the one that we have. If not, we would turn into a zombie. We'll move to the next step, which is to fill at least one backpack. And that simply means discarding one of each type of item and taking a level 5 backpack token. If we cannot fill at least one backpack, such as Barbara here, then we turn into a zombie. If you have any equipment left that makes a complete backpack, still, you need to do that taking more of these as well, and the app will tell us to score extra backpacks. At this point, we are now going to check for survivors gaining a hazard card if you're playing in a standard game, so Cole would get one, and these two no longer do since they are zombies. Then we're going to advance the app again, and it's going to ask us who turned into a zombie. Well, Barbara did, and Rich did. And that's going to change the way they play in the next round, and I'll explain the differences here in a minute. Then we're going to advance forward. It's going to tell us to flip to the zombie side. We're going to flip an empty room to inhabited. So we flip one of these for every new zombie player. So these two are now inhabited as well. Then the game tells us to discard supply cards to rooms. So Rich would discard his to the rooms, and Barbara would also discard hers to the rooms. Then we're going to go ahead and discard any remaining hazards for every new zombie player, and we're going to exchange backpack tokens for stragglers. So if they'd had any of these backpacks, they would become stragglers, and then all of their stragglers would turn into zombies. At this point now we are on day 2. Now the zombie players are still in this game, however, they now play a little differently. Zombie players want to try to get as many straggler tokens as possible, and they want to try to add hazards to the non-zombie player. So they still will be slamming things and adding them to their area, but if at any point they fill a complete backpack, they can yell zombie slam and then add a hazard card to a player of their choice that they are pointing to. However, if a normal non-zombie survivor catches them before they do so doing it, they can yell zombie slam, and that zombie character then has to give them a complete backpack's worth of items. The game will continue round and round like this for 4 days until the end, at which point, if there are any survivors, if you're the lone survivor, in this case Cole, you are the winner. If multiple people have not turned into zombies, then the person with the most points is the winner. If, however, everyone has turned into a zombie, then those zombies will add up their zombie straggler tokens, and whoever has the most points from them is the winner. So that's a look at Zombie Slam. Now typically I don't take a look at these smaller, fast-paced, frantic games, but I decided to go ahead and give this one a game mostly because I played around with the app prior to actually getting a hold of the physical game. And through messing around with the app and seeing the story and how that works, I was really interested in playing this one. So when I got a hold of it, I was super excited to get this one to the table to see how it would play off. Now, as I said in the overview, the app isn't required. You can use a deck of cards to run the game, but by and far, I would never recommend this game without the app. The app really does add this immersive experience to the game that really brings the game alive. And I especially enjoy the way the app, you can guess ahead of time. While the characters are talking, you could preemptively decide that you think they're going to ask for a plank of wood or for a medical kit. And that could really work in your favor, allowing you the first chance at the item, but it also could backfire and cause you to take the wrong item and now add an hazard to your play area. Now, one thing that I really dislike in games is player elimination. And I did like the way this game eliminated player elimination by allowing the players to turn into zombies, and then they can now play against the survivors. But in addition, they're now playing against the other zombies at the table as well. And I enjoy how that kept players from being eliminated from the game. However, one downside to the game I had with the zombies is once players became zombies, I did feel the game skew a little little in their favor. Now that could have been the playgroups I was playing with, but I did see it each time I played, and especially when I myself became a zombie. This game really does reward quick thinking, and that's something I really like in games, and that making a split-second decision can be the difference between getting the item you need or not getting the item you need. And there's also some strategy in this game in how you take on those extra stragglers and how you assemble your backpacks along the way. As to the artwork in the game, I found it to be appropriate to the theme. It's not overly dark given what this theme is about, but it's also not overly light either. It's enough to bring you in, and I like that the app also used the same artwork, and it has just the right amount of cartoon-like elements, despite the fact this is a pretty grim theme with players actually turning into zombies. Another thing I really like in the game, and I appreciate in any game that requires color as an element of gameplay, is the developers really did take the time to make sure that the colors would be colorblind friendly. And that shows the care that went into thinking about how this game would play. Now, as to the main mechanism in the game, the slapping the hands on the table, that probably was my least favorite thing in the game because it just felt a little chaotic to me. Now, for me personally, that is something I don't enjoy so much. I don't enjoy chaos in games, but everyone else at the table really did enjoy it. And it adds a certain amount of ruckus and fun at the table. And like I said, everyone at the table really did enjoy this. Overall, if you're looking for a game that is of a party style, but is not a party game, but has a good thematic element to it and plays well no matter the player counts, this is a game worth taking a look at. If you're adverse to app-driven games, this is still a game worth taking a look at because you can play it without the app. However, as I said, I would not recommend it without the app because it really does add an element of immersiveness to it. For me, sadly, I don't think this game is going to stay in my personal collection because it just was a little too chaotic for me personally, but I am going to pass it on to one of the players who was at the table in one of my sessions because I think this game will get a decent amount of playtime. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Zombie Slam and it's helped you decide if this might be right for you and your playgroup, and I look forward to seeing you folks next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.